Welcome to CougZone. I'm Alexander Huddleston.
And I'm Luke Kilgore. WSU football suffered a tough loss against Utah's backup quarterback, while volleyball swept their competitors.
And swim had 2 home meets, and WSU basketball is starting up again.
We have a preview coming up for you and more on CougZone. Washington State football had another disappointing loss, 21-17, against the number 14 Utah Utes this Thursday night, under the lights of Martin Stadium. This is their 3rd straight loss after starting the season 4-1. Just hours prior to the game, WSU unveiled a new helmet decal called Wazoo Script in hopes of instilling a spark in the players and fans before the game. Even so, the Cougs offense continued to struggle to move the ball. But the big shocker was when sophomore quarterback Bryson Barnes trotted onto the field for the Utes instead of star quarterback Cameron Rising. Nonetheless, Barnes was still able to complete a win for the Utes after throwing for 175 yards and a touchdown against WSU's defense. The struggles for the Cougs did not stop there defensively, as they also allowed 169 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns to Utah's collective ground attack. WSU quarterback Cameron Ward put up impressive stats with 222 yards passing on 27 of 31 completed passes, 28 yards rushing, and 2 total touchdowns. However, the Cougars offense was unable to find the end zone on several drives throughout the game. Utah moves to number 12 on the AP poll and 6-2 on the season, while Washington State drops down to 4-4 with 4 games left in the season. 2 wins out from bowl contention.
The Cougars are going back to Cali this weekend in hopes of a crucial bounce-back game to face off against the 3-5 Stanford Cardinal. Like WSU, Stanford has run into trouble this season when going up against Pac-12 opponents that are ranked. Even with a losing record, Stanford will not be a pushover for the Cougars, as 3 of their last 4 games were decided by 2 points or less. WSU has a hefty winning streak against Stanford, winning their last 5 matchups, placing the last time the Cougars lost to Stanford in 2015. Washington State hopes to push this winning streak to 6 in a row versus Stanford next weekend. The Cougs also hope to gain back the presence of running back Nakia Watson and receiver Renard Bell on the field after sitting out the past 2 games due to injuries. The game will take place on Saturday, November 11th at 12:30 p.m. and will be televised on the Pac-12 network.
WSU soccer took their lumps in California in their final 2 regular season road games this last week, with a 1-0 loss at number 1 UCLA on Thursday, followed by a 3-2 loss at number 18 USC on Sunday. In Thursday's road game, the Cougs held the top-ranked Bruins scoreless until the 62nd minute, when a second-chance shot from Lily Reel found its way to the back of the net. UCLA outshot Washington State 26-6, a season low in attempts for the Cougs. The lone highlight for WSU was a season-high 8 saves from goalkeeper Nadia Cooper. Cooper would rise up the ranks and become number 10 all-time in saves in WSU history by adding 4 more saves, a total of 104, against USC in a less lopsided affair on Sunday. After giving up an early 4th-minute goal, the Cougs would eventually have the lead in this match on the back of none other than Margie Detrizio. Detrizio scored in the 23rd and 49th minutes for her 3rd multi-goal match of the season. A balanced Trojan attack tacked on 2 more goals and held off the surging Cougs comeback bid for the 3-2 victory. Another notable stat from this one, Micaiah Miness started her 91st game, tying Sydney Pulver as WSU's all-time starts leader. With an overall record of 8-6-4 and a Pac-12 record of 2-5-3, Washington State comes back home to the lower soccer field for the final match of the regular season on Friday, fittingly against the rival Washington Huskies.
The Cougs split their matchups in Bowler Gym this last weekend. The Friday sweep by Stanford also marked the end of the Cougs' 7 home match winning streak, moving the Cougs to 7-1 at home. The final score was Stanford 3-0. The Cougs did bounce back to sweep Cal 3-0. Cal is also 0-12 in conference play. During the Stanford match, the Trees kept the Cougs to the lowest hitting percentage at .186. since the loss at Colorado earlier this year. Magda Yalasharova and Lauren Janssen tied with 12 kills, which was a team high on the night. Carly Basham and Julia Norville both had 8 digs as well. During the Cal match, the Cougs held Cal to a negative hitting percentage, while Carly Basham had 4 aces, being behind the line for 9 consecutive serves in the first set. Pia Timmer moved to 10th all-time career kills in program history with 1,118 kills. Timmer had 15 on the day. The Cougs are hitting the road this weekend to play the Oregon schools for the second half of the Pac-12 season.
It's officially basketball season, Cougs. The women's basketball team tipped off on Sunday, October 30th in an exhibition game against the Westmont Warriors. The Cougs won 64-40. Bella Muricatete had 26 points as several key players didn't suit up, but can be expected to play in their first official game against LMU on November 7th. The women shot 45% from the field and also had 20 assists. Tara Wallach had double-digit points as well. Charlize Ledger-Walker had 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Cougs did see some new faces as 4 freshmen saw floor time for the Cougs. This was the first ever meeting between the Warriors and the Cougs, and this was the first game played in Beasley since February 20th, 2022, when the Cougs beat Arizona in an upset win. And now sending it to Jerica and Danny for a men's basketball preview.
Obviously, we have high expectations for our men's basketball team coming straight into the season on Monday on the 7th. So a huge thing that I think happened over the summer too was Mo going into the transfer portal. What kind of did you see there, and how is it going to reflect kind of into the season now?
I think it definitely says a lot about who he is, and then just how that whole process worked out.
Right.
And personally, I think stuff like that can impact a team, so we'll definitely see if that will put an impact to the team.
Yeah, I agree. So Mo entered the transfer portal over summer and for the draft. A lot of communication. We didn't know if he had communication with other programs and things like that, but now he's returning to our team, which I think is going to be a huge highlight and very helpful to Kyle Smith's, obviously, offense on both sides of the ball as well as defense. So he did average 49.1 field goal percentage and 7.4 points per game. And I think as his confidence is able to build, those numbers are just going to continue to skyrocket,
100%.
as well as the duo with TJ Bamba.
I'm so excited for that duo. It's like you could see it with the Pac-12 preseason media day. They look good. I'm excited that they're leading us in the 2022 and 2023 season. I don't know. I think fans should be really excited. This is going to be a good year for WSU basketball. We have a lot of new guys. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's huge. I think definitely them being the duo that we can focus on is them being older too. They can lead the chemistry. They can kind of talk to the players, and they're able to defend. They're able to pass. They're able to shoot. They're kind of people that you need. They're necessary, and to a versatile offense as well for Kyle Smith.
I agree, and I think definitely it makes the basketball game exciting, especially when you have an aspect on the court that can do many things and put a good game for not them just themselves, but also for the crowd.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Got to fill up Beasley. We have to. Let's go into kind of a few people that we picked up over the season and how we're able to put it into this season too, because we did lose a few people.
We did. Okay. So first off, I have Mohamed Gay. He was named the 2022-23 Pac-12 men's basketball preseason all-conference first game. He posted a team best 3 double-double last year with 16 points and 11 rebounds against Stanford. And in the last season, he averaged 7.4 points and 5.2 rebounds per game.
Right, which is huge. But also, obviously, we lost Flowers and Roberts, which they definitely helped us on the offensive side of the ball. But we did add some height to our team, which I think is definitely going to be necessary for better passes, better shooting, and kind of not having to take those more difficult shots where it's kind of your back throw or whatever you need, and able to more rebounds too, I think is very key as well.
I think rebounds, I mean, personally as a basketball fan, you have to look at rebounds are so important because it keeps the momentum of the ball. But what's your next guy?
Yeah, so honestly, I have with smaller guys, I just want to go back to the height. I think that is something huge that we did add. Like I said, with smaller guards, you're not able to, like I said, I talked about the shots as well, but with bigger size, it's easier reads, and you can play off the top of the zone, makes the smaller guards and the Pac-12, less efficient, which I think is huge defending the ball as well.
I totally agree. Also, you talked about height, and I didn't really notice this until now, but they're so tall. They're like, if you look at the roster, it's like 6'2", and it keeps
all the way to
going
6'11",
like 6'11", like it just keeps going up.
With that wingspan, I think definitely able to bring it too.
No, literally.
You know, we have a game coming up November 7th. I think is huge. Texas State Bobcats. Kind of, what are you seeing? What's the pass? How do you think that's going to go?
So I personally think, of course, go Cougs.
Always.
We're going to take the dub. But last time these two teams met was in 2015. WSU won 78-73.
Right, I think that's huge. They also, 2015 is a very different game, obviously different teams, different coaches and things like that. With the chemistry building, I think it's going to be a great first game as well. We took them to overtime the last time we played them, but again, that was in 2015. So Texas State, obviously 21-8 last season and 12-3 in conference play. They averaged 70.4 points per game and only let the team average 60.3 points per game. So I think that is a huge thing that we need to get the ball started right off the bat and just never press the brakes.
How do you see this game going? Like as oh my gosh, it's a first game, home game.
Right.
How do you see this going?
I think if we can pack the crowd and get a big crowd going, I think it's going to be a huge game. Like I said, start off as soon as we can, pedal to the metal, and we can't look back. We can't get, I think, WSU is kind of known for kind of getting lax right when we get ahead and things like that, but if this team is able to motivate themselves, the chemistry balance, and having passing the ball is a huge thing that we could do.
I totally agree. One thing you noted, and we talk about this a lot, chemistry is really important when it comes to a team and how things play out. Now, let's move on to the WSU got selected 8th in the preseason media pool. What are your thoughts?
I think that's I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Obviously, I want to defend my team. I want to defend the school that I go to, but I just think that's quite wrong. I think with the people that we've added and are able to kind of be more efficient, way more of a versatile group this year, I think if we're able to play to our advantages and kind of keep the defensive teams on their toes and on their heels as well, I think we should be a lot lower.
I totally agree. I also do not agree with this placement. Just looking at it, I definitely think we should have been ranked a bit higher. We got a good stacked team. I think we will definitely, WSU has always been to have to prove themselves, and I think this will just be another example of how we need to prove themselves. But I'm excited. This is gonna be a good season. Good season.
I just want to note there's one player on the Bobcats I think that we should highlight just because he's going to be hard to defend, and that is Caleb Ashbury, number 5. He's a guard and a senior as well. He's a 6'3", but he leads the team in points and is 30 over the other percentage of the other teams he's played. So I think that's someone that we need to keep on his heels, drive him left to the ball, and not let him pass the ball as well.
I agree. I think you definitely, each team has their star player, but if you all work as a team and get movement going on the floor, I think you can overcome that and be the winning team, be on top.
So Monday, November 7th, 4:30. Make sure you're here at Beasley, and let's fill this crowd.
Go crazy, go crazy.
As always, go Cougs.
Go
and
Cougs.
Back to the desk with Alex. Thank you.
Thanks, ladies. The Stanford Cardinal women's swim team traveled to take on WSU Friday, October 28th. Stanford won the meet 179-81, but WSU walked away with 3 winning races. WSU freshman Emily Lundgren remained undefeated in the 100 and 200-yard breaststroke races. In the next race, the 100-yard backstroke, Curzon broke the pool record with a time of 53:46. Freshman Dori Hatazi placed first on the podium in the 200-yard butterfly. She broke the pool record previously in the season and qualified for an NCAA A-cut time. All eyes fell on a tight 200-yard freestyle. Stanford's C relay won, but WSU's relay and Stanford's relay would tie for second with a time of 1:34:69. The Cougs lost 179-81, but was later changed to 147-104.
The next morning, the Cougs hosted the University of Northern Colorado for their second meet of the weekend. The Cougs won 186-74 before the exhibition races, and after the corrected races, the new point total was 144-104. Freshman Emily Lundgren won the 50-yard breaststroke and 100-yard breaststroke as well. She is still undefeated in the 100-yard race this season at home. In the 100-yard IM event, Kaya Takashige won her first event as a Coug this season with a time of 58.71 seconds. Although the Cougs won most events, Northern Colorado won 2 events. WSU's Anna Rockholz had several key wins in the 100-yard backstroke and 50-yard backstroke. These wins also marked the first of her career while at WSU. The Cougs head to Texas to swim in the Texas A&M Invitational.
Your Cougar men's golf team is currently competing in the St. Mary's Invitational from Monday to Wednesday. The tournament is played at the Poppy Hills Golf Course right on Pebble Beach in Monterey, California. The lineup this week will include the golfers of Preston Bybich, Sam Renner, Jaden Cantafio, Pono Yanagi, and Daniel Kim. Tianu Wu competed in the individuals event. As the team is coming off 2 second-place performances in Corvallis and Stockton, there is no doubt they hope to keep the momentum going here before the fall season break. After this event, the Cougs will not compete till February, giving them time to further develop an already lethal roster.
The Cougar women's golf team is also playing from Monday to Wednesday in the anticipated Pac-12 preview hosted in Kailua, Kona, Hawaii. The team will face many of their Pac-12 rivals, giving spectators a solid gauge of the top contenders thus far in the season. Madeline Gamble, Emiko Sperduk, Darcy Habgood, Hannah Harrison, and Emily Caldwell will tee off for the Cougs. Coach Augard is excited to run her team along the likes of strong competition as she believes the conference hosts a handful of the nation's top 20 programs. This will also be the last event prior to the seasonal break as play will resume in February.
That is it for this episode. Follow us on Wazoo Sports Network on Instagram and Wazoo Sports Net on Twitter.
And be sure to follow us on the Cable 8 YouTube as well for all of your WSN and Cable 8 content. I'm Luke Kilgore.
And I'm Alexander Huddleston. And see you next week on CougZone.
That was good stuff. That was good stuff.
Thank you.